Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into, well, insights that might genuinely shift your daily experience.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and today we're tackling something pretty universal, I think. That feeling of being totally unprepared.
Oh, definitely. The no instruction manual feeling.
Exactly. You know, that moment you think, okay, I have zero idea what I'm doing, and did everyone else get some secret memo I missed?
Mm-hmm. You're definitely not alone in that. It's a big club.
Right. Life just doesn't give you the IKEA guide for, building a good life. There's no troubleshooting for when emotions go haywire, and definitely no customer service line for when everything just collapses.
No, none of that.
So yeah, most of the time, feels like we're all just kind of winging it, hoping not to set the whole kitchen on fire, metaphorically speaking.
Well said.
And this journey, the one we call Cognizant Life art, which is really just, living consciously, skillfully, it starts right there, acknowledging that life will always throw those kicks in the shins at you.
That's such an astute observation.
Yeah.
And while, yeah, external challenges, they're just a given, aren't they?
Absolutely.
The really significant chunk, often the bit we don't look at of our suffering, comes from our own internal reactions to whatever life throws at us.
Okay, so it's how we respond internally.
Exactly. And the really exciting news here, and this is central to the Cognizant Life framework, is that we can actually learn to navigate this inner world, with much more skill. We can transform those knee-jerk responses into something, well, more artful, more intentional.
Artful, I like that.
The text we're drawing from describes our minds as this magnificent but definitely complex internal machine. You've got thoughts whirring like gears, emotions bubbling like cauldrons, beliefs like these deep grooves.
Wow, vivid imagery.
And these lightning-fast, often unconscious patterns, all these internal forces. They play a massive, often decisive role in how we see things, how we interpret them, and how we respond to life's hurdles.
So they're literally shaping our reality from the inside out.
Precisely, from the inside out.
It's kind of incredible how much that internal landscape dictates the external experience. You mentioned our internal operating system could be like riddled with buggy code.
Yes, that's the analogy used.
Things like unhelpful beliefs, biases we don't even know we have, reactive habits. How do you even start to debug something so invisible? Especially when those bugs just feel like, well, like us.
That's a really powerful question, and it gets right to the heart of why this kind of inner work matters so much.
Yeah.
A lot of these bugs, they operate below the surface, like hidden programs running in the background.
Okay.
Think about common cognitive biases, for example. We all have them. One of the big ones is confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias, right. Heard of that.
Yeah, it's where we instinctively look for, interpret, and remember stuff in a way that just confirms what we already believe.
So we filter reality to fit our view.
Pretty much. If you already lean a certain way politically, for instance, you're naturally drawn to news and people who echo that view. It just digs that belief in deeper instead of genuinely exploring other sides.
And that limits adaptability, I guess.
Hugely. That bug can seriously limit how well we adapt and understand complex stuff. Another common one is anchoring bias.
Anchoring?
Yeah, where we latch on to the first piece of information, we get the anchor, and it heavily influences our decisions afterwards.
Wow, like in negotiations?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Salary negotiation is a classic example. The first number thrown out, it can totally skew the final agreement, even if it's way off base.
Okay, so recognizing these patterns, these biases, that's the first step in the debugging.
It's the essential first step, developing that self-awareness to just notice when these automatic reactions are kicking in.
That's a really sharp distinction, showing how our internal landscape dictates our external experience. And this whole journey, it's not about pretending everything's fine, right? Not suppressing emotions or putting on a fake positive vibes only sticker.
Absolutely not. That often backfires anyway.
It's more about developing a conscious, flexible, resilient relationship with our own minds, recognizing when thoughts are just thoughts and emotions are signals, not dictators.
Precisely. Feelings as messengers, not dictators. That phrase captures it perfectly.
That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? I think a lot of us could use that mindset. So what's the practical first step? How do we start seeing emotions that way?
Well, the very first step is often just acknowledging they're there. without judging them, understanding they carry information like a messenger arriving at your door.
Okay, just notice and acknowledge.
And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We're getting into a really practical part of the Cognizant Life framework, pulling straight from the Cultivating Key Practices and Habits section of the text.
Right.
Our focus, the 7 habits for a skillful life. And crucially, this isn't just some static list you check off.
Right, not a to-do list.
No, these are dynamic, ongoing practices, areas you're always developing, always refining. Think of them like the core muscles you train to become, well, a cognizant life artist.
Okay, muscles to train. I like that framing. Not a one-and-done thing, but ongoing practice. And it sounds like these 7 habits, they're all connected.
Deeply interconnected, yes.
Yeah. They draw on and strengthen that core inner toolkit we've touched on before. Things like awareness, self-awareness, being present.
Situational awareness, too.
Right, and like making decisions based on insight, authenticity, resilience, engagement. Sounds like it all works together. Animated by insight and integrity, perhaps.
Precisely. Think of these habits as dynamic, developable qualities, like those muscles you train. And they act as powerful multipliers for a well-lived life.
Multipliers, okay.
So our mission today is really to unpack each one, shine a light on the core idea, pull out the key takeaway, and crucially, provide some actionable insights, real examples for you listening to start cultivating them in your own life.
Great.
We'll go into some detail on each so you can really grasp not just what they are, but how they can practically make a difference.
Excellent. Let's dive in. Habit number 1, which feels foundational. Skillful adaptability, embracing life's changes and uncertainties.
Foundational is the right word.
The core idea seems to be about navigating life's, uncharted waters. Embracing the fact that things change, things are uncertain, and learning to respond thoughtfully, intentionally, instead of just reacting on autopilot when the unexpected hits.
Exactly. And the crucial takeaway here for skillful living, it goes beyond just managing your own stuff effectively.
Okay.
It deeply involves connecting with, understanding, and genuinely caring for yourself and for others.
So it's relational too.
Very much so. And in the context of adaptability, what this really boils down to is intentionally creating space, cultivating awareness between the stimulus, the situation hitting you and your response.
That pause.
That vital pause. It helps you sidestep purely reactive, impulsive, or just autopilot decision-making, especially when the stakes feel high. It's that critical difference between a knee-jerk reaction and a considered, skillful choice.
So, okay, the pause is key. But how do we actually do that? In the middle of messy, everyday life, the text mentions challenging our own biases and judgments about ourselves and others. You touched on biases earlier as buggy code. How does challenging them actually make us more adaptable?
It's fundamental, really, because biases, by their nature, they narrow our view. They make us rigid.
Right.
If you're stuck in your preconceived ideas about a situation or a person, you miss vital information. Your ability to adapt just shrinks.
Okay.
Take the fundamental attribution error we mentioned, where we jump to conclusions about someone's personality. Oh, they're just lazy if they miss a deadline.
Yeah, we do that.
Challenging that bias means pausing, considering, hang on, could there be something else going on? A family emergency, conflicting priorities I don't know about. That shift from judgment to curiosity opens everything up.
Opens up possibilities.
Exactly. Possibilities for understanding, for problem solving, for a much more skillful response. Or think about the sunk cost fallacy.
Throwing good money after bad.
Or time, or energy. Yeah. Continuing something just because you've already invested so much, even if it's clearly not working. An adaptable person can recognize, okay, past investment doesn't dictate future success. They can pivot, explore new paths based on the current reality and future potential, not just historical baggage.
So challenging these internal bugs directly fuels our capacity to adapt.
Makes sense. It really does. It widens the lens.
So beyond tackling those deep biases, what else can we actively practice day to day to get better at adapting?
Another incredibly practical thing, and it might sound almost too simple, is to regularly practice small acts of kindness and genuine appreciation.
For others?
Yes, but also significantly for yourself.
Okay. Self-appreciation too.
Definitely. These little micro moments, they actively rewire our brains for positivity. They strengthen neural pathways for connection and resilience.
That's it.
Well, when you consistently acknowledge your own efforts, Even for small things, finally clearing that inbox, sticking to a new habit for a day. You're building self-efficacy, that feeling of I can do things.
Right, builds confidence.
Exactly. And that internal sense of capability makes you feel more resilient when bigger challenges hit.
Yeah.
You're more likely to face the next hurdle. And when you offer genuine appreciation to someone else, a colleague, a partner, a friend, you're not just brightening their day.
You building trust.
You are profoundly deepening trust and psychological safety in that relationship. It creates this positive feedback loop, an environment where people feel safer taking risks, innovating, adapting together.
Yeah, that ripple effect is powerful. And I know a crucial piece here is embracing the growth mindset, the idea from Carol Dweck.
Oh, absolutely central to adaptability.
Believing your abilities aren't fixed. Seeing challenges not as, threats that expose you, but as chances to stretch and learn.
Precisely. So when you hit a setback, instead of that inner voice screaming, I can't do this,
You add.
yet. I can't do this yet. That tiny word changes everything.
It implies potential.
Exactly. It embeds the idea of progress. And it goes further. Instead of seeing failure as this final terrible thing,
Reframe it.
reframe it as feedback, or I love this one, first attempt in learning. FAIR.
Attempt in learning. That's great.
It shifts your focus completely.
Yeah.
Away from self-judgment towards curiosity. Okay, what data did I just get? You're not paralyzed by fear. You're engaged in the process, the effort.
So setbacks become fuel.
Genuine opportunities for insight and growth, which is the very heart of adaptability. You learn, iterate, adjust, move forward wiser.
That's a total game changer for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And building on that, you mentioned skillful adaptability requires connecting to emotional agility. What exactly is that?
Emotional agility. It's about being able to experience your full range of feelings, even the tough ones. Frustration, anxiety, disappointment, with awareness and acceptance.
So not fighting them.
Not fighting them, acknowledging them, and still being able to choose actions aligned with your core values.
Right.
It's about seeing emotions as valuable data. Those messengers, again, not as directives that must be obeyed.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Feeling anxious about a big presentation. Emotional agility isn't trying to force yourself not to feel anxious. That usually doesn't work.
Right.
It's recognizing the anxiety. Anxiety is here. Allowing it, and then choosing to prepare thoroughly anyway because presenting well aligns with your value of professionalism rather than letting the anxiety make you avoid it or freeze up.
So you feel the feeling, but it doesn't dictate your behavior.
Yeah.
How do we practice that? Is there a tool for navigating those strong emotions without getting, swept away?
Yes, there's a very practical and powerful tool called the R.A.I.N. practice.
R.A.I.N.
R.A.I.N. Okay, what does that stand for?
R is for recognize the emotion that's present. Just name it. This is frustration.
Recognize. Got it.
A is for allow. Let it be there without fighting it, without judging yourself for feeling it. Just allow.
Allow. I is for investigate. Get curious gently. What does this feel like in my body? Tightness, heat, what thoughts are swirling around it? Just observe.
Investigate.
And N is for nurture or non-identification. Nurture means offering yourself some kindness, some self-compassion, reminding yourself suffering is human.
Nurture. Be kind to yourself.
Or non-identification, recognizing you have the emotion, but you are not the emotion itself. It's a passing state.
Okay. You are not the frustration.
Exactly. This R.A.I.N. process helps you relate to your emotions with more wisdom, less reactivity, more skillful adaptability.
That really brings it home how managing that inner world impacts everything. And speaking of that, let's move to the next habit, number 2, which feels closely related. Cultivating compassion. The uplifting power of acknowledgement.
Deeply related, yes.
The core idea seems to be about genuinely understanding others' experiences and our own. Importantly, practicing empathy, wanting to support well-being and growth, recognizing that inherent humanity in everyone.
Yes, exactly. And the key takeaway here for skillful living when we talk about compassion is about consciously, consistently investing real-time and genuine energy in building and maintaining authentic connections.
Real energy, not just surface stuff.
Right. It's about seeing people, your colleagues, family, friends, as whole individuals. Unique strengths, perspectives, their own complex lives and contexts, not just the role they fill for you.
Seeing the whole person,
When you see your boss not just as the boss, but as a person dealing with their own pressures, maybe their own insecurities, your interactions naturally shift. That holistic view fosters the empathy that makes real compassion possible.
Okay, so how do we build that kind of connection more systematically, not just hope it happens?
Well, one systematic way to cultivate compassion, and this ties right back into mindful decision making too, is using that PREP framework again.
PREP. Pause, reflect, engage, proceed.
Exactly. It's fundamental for mindful choices, which are often acts of compassion in practice. Before making significant decisions, especially interpersonal ones, you consciously pause. Create that mental space. Stop the autopilot.
Boss.
Then reflect. Look at the objective facts, sure, but also your emotional state, potential biases sneaking in, the ethical side of things, what outcome you actually want. Bring your wisdom and awareness online.
Reflect.
Then engage. Consider your options. Check them against your core values, your intentions. How does this align?
Engage.
And only then proceed. Move forward with your chosen action, but with clarity and purpose, not just reacting.
So PRP isn't just for big life decisions, but for those daily interactions too. Can you maybe walk through an example in a trickier interpersonal situation?
Absolutely. Let's take Maria's ethical dilemma from the text. Maria found out a close friend, Sarah, was being financially taken advantage of by someone else in their circle.
Oh, tricky. Very awkward.
Extremely delicate. Saying something could blow up the friend group. Easier to just stay quiet, right? Keep the peace.
Yeah, tempting.
But Maria valued fairness. Loyalty to her friend was a core purpose, so she paused. Reflected on the risks versus her convictions.
Oh, to reflect it. Okay.
She gathered insight, observed more, confirmed her fears. Then she engaged with the problem thoughtfully. Didn't cause a scene.
What'd you do?
She ethically, courageously chose to speak to Sarah privately, with kindness, no judgment. Shared her observations, expressed concern, offered support, but wasn't prescriptive. Just, here's what I see, I'm worried.
Okay.
Then she proceeded with that tough conversation. She acted with integrity. That's profound compassion, prioritizing genuine support over just keeping things smooth socially. Ethics guiding tough personal choices.
Wow. That's a really clear example of PREP making a difference in a high-stakes relationship moment. And you mentioned relationships. Active and empathetic listening feels like a huge part of this compassion piece. It's an act of integrity itself, isn't it?
It truly is. To genuinely hear someone, acknowledge them, make a real effort to understand their perspective, their feelings, their needs, especially when it's different from yours, maybe even challenging. That's a hallmark of respect.
Builds that psychological safety.
Exactly. It signals, I value you and your experience. It means consciously asking yourself, am I really listening to understand? Or just waiting for my turn to talk, to argue my point?
Oof. Yeah, that's a good check.
That shift from formulating your rebuttal to genuine curiosity and connection, it's invaluable for building trust, for fostering deeper, more compassionate relationships. It turns potential debates into actual dialogues.
Okay, let's transition now. Habit number 3. Mindful decision-making. Choosing your path with wisdom.
Another crucial one.
The core idea feels very linked to adaptability again. Intentionally creating that space, that awareness between stimulus and response. Trying to avoid just reacting, being impulsive, running on autopilot, especially for the bigger choices.
Yes, they're deeply intertwined, like threads in the same cloth.
And the key takeaway for skillful living here.
It's about discovering and clarifying your core values, what truly matters to you, and then letting those values be your unwavering compass, your guide for decisions, for behaviors.
Your compass.
When your choices align with your values, they feel authentic, powerful. The text stresses, don't try to be someone you're not. Your inner self knows. Often, others sense it too, that incongruent.
That mismatch.
And that tension, trying to maintain a facade, it's incredibly draining, like constantly swimming upstream.
So how do we get clearer on these core values that should be our compass? It sounds good, but how do you do it?
Well, putting this into practice means engaging in regular, honest self-reflection. It's not a one-off workshop.
Ongoing.
An ongoing dialogue with yourself. Set aside some time, maybe even schedule it to introspect. Connect with what truly matters. Ask yourself, what gives me energy? What issues ignite my passion? What principles do I stand for, even when it's unpopular?
Good questions.
Understand your signature strengths, too, and be brutally honest about your limitations. Journaling helps many people. Quiet contemplation, talking with a trusted mentor or friend.
So knowing yourself deeply.
That deep self-knowledge fuels insight-driven decision-making. You see the bigger picture, the deeper why behind choices. It helps you avoid those moments later where you think, Why on earth did I agree to that? Because your choices are aligned.
We mentioned PREP again for compassion. It seems like it pops up everywhere. How does it apply so broadly to mindful decision-making day to day?
It's incredibly versatile because mindful choices aren't just for life's huge crossroads. They're for the micro decisions shaping our hours, our days.
Like what?
Like using PRP before firing off a reply to a triggering email, or before diving into a difficult family chat, or when a strong emotion, anger, fear suddenly flares up, or even making a quick but important personal choice, like how to spend your limited free time.
So instead of instantly reacting,
You pause. You reflect. What's my goal here? What's their likely intent? What's the wise response? You engage. Maybe draft a calmer reply. Think through your opening line for the conversation. Then proceed thoughtfully.
it shifts you out of reaction mode.
Exactly. From habitual reactivity to conscious, skillful responding. That's aware living in action. Hitting pause, reflecting, choosing engagement, proceeding with intention.
That's super practical. And I guess mindful decision-making isn't just internal. It extends outward to situational awareness.
It absolutely has to. It's not just about your inner world, it's understanding the external environment too.
What does that mean in practice?
Being attuned to other people, the dynamics in a conversation, the unspoken rules of a group or place, the broader context. For instance, before you charge into a team meeting with your big idea, maybe pause. Try to scan the vibe.
Scan the vibe.
Yeah, consciously notice the overall energy. Is it tense, relaxed, focused? Are people looking stressed already? This helps you adjust your approach. Maybe you soften your tone. Maybe you wait for a better moment.
So you communicate more effectively. Avoid stepping on toes.
Precisely. Avoid misunderstandings. It's about intelligently navigating your social world, not just your inner one.
And finally, under this habit, we come back to that power of yet reframing failure as feedback. When decisions don't work out, how does that growth mindset really help future choices?
Oh, hugely. When things go wrong, it's so easy to fall into self-blame, regret, I'm useless.
Yes.
But applying that growth mindset means instead of I failed, it's I can't do this yet, or okay, that was my first attempt in learning. FAIL.
Shifts the focus.
Completely. From judgment to learning. Instead of stopping, you ask, okay, what did I learn here? What new information did I get? This builds resilience because setbacks aren't dead ends.
They're data points.
Critical steps in a learning process. So it leads to better future decisions because you're constantly gathering insights from all experiences, not just the successes. You're not defeated, you're informed, like a scientist tweaking the experiment after unexpected results.
Okay, moving on to habit number 4, nurturing meaningful relationships. The weaving of connection.
A big one for human happiness.
Right, the core idea. Consciously, consistently investing time and genuine energy into building and keeping authentic connections. Seeing people as whole individuals, their strengths, perspectives, context, recognizing we're wired for connection. Our well-being depends on it.
It's a profound truth, deeply embedded in our biology and psychology, and the essential takeaway here.
Yes.
Make sincere gratitude and appreciation a regular, authentic part of your daily life and interactions. Not just a superficial thanks, genuine acknowledgement.
Like relationship nutrients.
That's a great way to put it. This simple act, done consistently, nourishes your relational garden profoundly.
So how do we actively cultivate that? Especially when life is just so busy.
Well, one key actionable insight is to consciously encourage open, honest dialogue and constructive feedback within your important relationships.
Create safe spaces.
Exactly. Safe spaces where loved ones, colleagues, friends feel they can share ideas, voice concerns, even offer feedback without fearing punishment or judgment.
That takes effort.
It does. Instead of getting defensive about criticism, maybe try asking, okay, can you tell me more about that? Or thanks for sharing, that gives me something to think about. And crucially, model receiving feedback openly yourself. See it as a gift for growth, not an attack.
Builds that emotional safety.
Which is the bedrock. It allows relationships to handle disagreements, misunderstandings, which are inevitable, and still thrive.
And there's that incredibly simple but powerful principle. Do what you say you will do. DWISYWD.
Sounds obvious, right?
Yeah, but hard sometimes.
Its consistent application is absolutely fundamental for building trust. Trust is the foundation.
Yeah.
Every single time you follow through, big or small, calling back when you said you would, meeting a deadline, remembering a small detail someone shared, you make a deposit in the trust bank.
And every time you don't.
You make a withdrawal, being reliable. It creates deep trust with others and also, importantly, self-respect. You're living in integrity with your own word. It avoids those later regrets, builds a reputation, internally and externally, of dependability.
Also crucial in relationships. Minding your nonverbals. What does that look like practically?
It means making sure your tone, your body language, actually match the message you intend to send, especially if it's meant to be compassionate or understanding.
Like, don't say "I understand" with crossed arms and a sigh.
Exactly. The nonverbals scream louder. It also means choosing the right time and place for important conversations, not when you're both exhausted or distracted.
Context matters.
Hugely. Communication is this complex dance words, tone, body language, your underlying intention, and how the other person perceives it all. Often the unspoken stuff carries more weight. Being mindful of these cues makes communication far more effective, more empathetic.
And in today's world, digital communication. You called it the Wild West of misunderstandings. How do we navigate texts and emails without blowing up relationships?
Oh, it's critical. Digital stuff lacks all that richness, tone, body language, immediate feedback. It's a minefield for misinterpretation.
So be extra careful.
Extra mindful. Always pause before hitting send, especially if you're emotional or the topic is sensitive. Read it aloud first. How does it actually sound?
Good tip.
Use emojis to help convey tone, sure, but know their limits. And for anything really important, sensitive, complex, just pick up the phone. Or better yet, talk in person if you can.
Some things need the human element.
Some conversations absolutely demand that real-time nuance, the ability to see reactions, hear inflections, clarify instantly. Don't try to resolve deep conflict over text. It rarely ends well.
Okay, let's shift to habit 5. Living with authenticity, the strength of being yourself.
Finding that congruence.
Yeah. The core idea seems to be that authenticity rests on self-awareness. You have to know your genuine self, first values, beliefs, feelings, then have the integrity to act in line with that knowing. And that fuels genuine engagement with others. Sounds like an inside-out job.
It absolutely is. It starts within. And the crucial takeaway for skillful living here loops back again. Discover and clarify your core values. Let them be that unwavering compass guiding your decisions and actions.
Don't try to be someone else.
Exactly. The text is emphatic. Don't try to be someone you're not. You'll feel it. Others often sense it too, that incongruence, that tension of wearing a mask is exhausting. It creates inner conflict, disconnection, aligning inner and outer. Huge relief.
So how do we start peeling back those layers, understanding what we're really feeling underneath the surface reactions?
A really practical way to cultivate authenticity is using the "what am I feeling really?" check-in.
Okay, quick check-in.
Just a few times a day, maybe when you notice your mood shift or your energy dip, pause 30 seconds, a minute. Ask, what emotion am I actually feeling right now?
Be specific.
Try to name it specifically, not just stress, but maybe irritated, overwhelmed, a bit flat, anxious. Then gently notice where in your body you feel it. Tension in the jaw? Stomach clenching?
Just notice.
Observe with gentle curiosity. No need to fix it or judge it, just notice. This simple, consistent practice builds emotional literacy, boosts self-awareness, and creates vital space around the emotion. Stops it from hijacking you completely. You become the observer, not the prisoner.
And related to that, what about those moments we get suddenly defensive or overwhelmed? You mentioned which has triggered me, detective game. Sounds intriguing.
It's a fantastic tool. When you find yourself having a disproportionately strong reaction, sudden anger, defensiveness, shutting down, gently play detective after the initial emotional storm passes.
Have to, right?
Ask, what just happened right before I started feeling this way? Was it a specific word someone used, a look, something online, a memory? Identifying your triggers, it doesn't make them disappear.
But it gives you power.
Immense power. When you know what tends to set you off, you can anticipate it. Prepare your response. Maybe even choose a different situation sometimes. You move from being hijacked by automatic reactions to making conscious choices. That's empowering your authentic self.
And finally, under authenticity, healthy transparency. How does that work without just, oversharing everything?
Right. It's often misunderstood. Healthy transparency isn't blurting out every private thought to everyone.
What is it then?
It's about being straightforward, honest, not deceptive or manipulative in your dealings, within appropriate boundaries for the context. Letting people see the real you, your intentions, values, genuine reactions, without pretending or having hidden agendas.
Like at work.
Yeah, say you're struggling with a deadline. Healthy transparency isn't just complaining, it's communicating clearly, early. Hey, I'm hitting a snag with X, I might need a bit more time, or maybe some help with Y.
Builds trust, solves problems.
Exactly. Fosters understanding, reduces guesswork, builds trust, leads to better problem solving. When you allow yourself to be appropriately vulnerable, appropriately genuine, it invites others to do the same. Builds deeper, more authentic connections. Trying to be someone you're not creates so much internal stress. Aligning inner and outer is just a huge relief. Better well-being.
Okay, habit number 6, gratitude and appreciation. The uplifting power of acknowledgement.
But truly transformative practice.
The core idea. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a powerful positive state, emotional, mental scene that boosts well-being, strengthens relationships, shifts your view from lack to abundance, builds resilience. It's an active thing. Cognizant life artists intentionally cultivate appreciation for everything.
Yes, the active cultivation is key. And the crucial takeaway for skillful living: make sincere gratitude and appreciation a regular, authentic part of your daily life, your interactions.
Not just for big occasions.
No, not just Thanksgiving dinner or when you get a huge gift. It's a daily, consistent practice, like strengthening a muscle through regular exercise. The more you practice noticing things to appreciate, the easier it gets.
So how do we weave this into busy lives? Where do we start?
Start by actively looking for opportunities to acknowledge and appreciate. Don't wait for the big stuff.
Small things count.
Absolutely. Make it a conscious habit. Notice and appreciate daily efforts from loved ones. Someone made coffee. Listened patiently. Small wins in your own work. A helpful gesture from a colleague. A stranger holding a door. Even just the beauty around you, sunshine, a tree.
Train your brain to spot the good.
Exactly. You're actively countering that built-in negativity bias our brains have, the tendency to scan for threats and problems. You're cultivating an attitude of gratitude.
And it's not just about receiving, is it? It's about creating a flow.
Precisely. Build on that by actively fostering a culture of mutual appreciation in your family, friendships, maybe your team at work.
Wow.
Encourage it. Create opportunities for people to recognize and appreciate each other's support, positive qualities, maybe as simple wins of the week share at dinner, or regular shout-outs in a team meeting. It's not just feel-good fluff.
It reinforces positive stuff.
Reinforces desired behaviors, strengthens bonds, makes everyone feel seen, valued, creates a positive ecosystem.
Now, this next one sounds advanced, but powerful. Expressing gratitude for challenges and learnings. How on earth do you find gratitude when things are really tough?
It is advanced, definitely a hallmark of skillful living. When you're facing a big setback, obviously you process the initial pain, frustration, disappointment, anger.
Right, you don't skip that.
No. But after that initial processing, try to find something to be grateful for. Maybe the lesson learned, the unexpected strength it revealed in you, the chance to build resilience.
Okay, finding the learning.
Think of the example of David, the marathon runner in the text. Trained hard, got injured just before the race. Devastating.
Yeah.
Instead of just spiraling into, this is awful, it's unfair, which is natural, he consciously chose to find learning, value. He reframed it, acknowledged injuries happen, practiced self-compassion, accepted it, channeled his energy into recovery. Used it to learn more about his body, embrace new goals for a while. That's turning a lemon into, well, something valuable. Using gratitude not for the injury, but for the insight, the redirection it offered. Grateful for what the suffering can teach.
That's a profound shift. Okay, last one. Habit number 7, self-care and service to others. Sustaining your energy for a fulfilling life.
The sustainability piece.
Right, core idea. Living skillfully, having impact, being sustainable, it all requires energy, mental clarity, emotional balance, overall well-being. So consistently taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's not selfish.
Not at all. It's essential.
An essential prerequisite for engaging meaningfully with life, for supporting others effectively. Finding that balance between your needs and serving others, knowing that contributing often brings fulfillment too.
That's absolutely right. And the crucial insight here is to consciously integrate self-care and service. They aren't opposites. Self-care isn't selfish indulgence. It's the necessary foundation.
Well, you can't pour from an empty cup.
That classic saying rings profoundly true. If your own well-being is depleted, what do you really have left to give authentically?
So if it's so vital, how do we make it a priority? Especially when it feels like there's just no time.
One way is to consciously model healthy self-care for those around you.
Lead by example.
Exactly. When you visibly prioritize your well-being in a balanced way, taking a real lunch break, protecting time for exercise, disconnecting from work, it sends a powerful message. This is normal. This is necessary. You encourage others, perhaps implicitly, to do the same. It's not about bragging, it's about integration.
And how do we know when the cup is getting low? What's the internal gauge?
You need to regularly assess your own energy and well-being, like
Yeah.
checking your bank balance or your fitness tracker. Make it a habit. Check in with your internal dashboard.
What's on the dashboard?
Energy levels scale of 1 to 10, stress levels, sense of fulfillment, feeling vibrant or heading towards burnout. If you spot those warning signs, persistent fatigue, irritability, brain fog, take proactive steps. Don't wait for a crisis.
Like what kind of steps?
Could be simple. Schedule a quiet night in. Delegate something if possible. Just take 5 minutes for deep breathing. Address the dip before it becomes a dive.
Speaking of simple things, mindful transitions throughout the day. That sounds like an overlooked opportunity.
Hugely overlooked. Those little moments between tasks, between meetings, walking from one place to another, often just lost time, mind racing.
Right.
Instead, as you walk, bring your attention fully to the sensation of walking. Feet on the floor. As you finish one thing, before starting the next, take 3 conscious breaths. Intentionally.
Just 3 breaths.
These tiny acts clear the mental clutter. Reduce carryover stress. Cultivate that moment-to-moment awareness right in the middle of a busy day, bringing intention to the mundane, carving out micro moments of calm.
And it's similar to that, the 1-minute awareness check-in or sensory check-in sounds like a quick reset button.
It totally is. Set a subtle reminder if you need to phone chime, calendar alert. A few times a day, stop, just for 60 seconds. Guide your attention. Breath. Just notice it. Body. Quick scan for tension, jaw, shoulders. Current emotion. Name it gently. Thoughts. Observe them float by. Don't get hooked.
Breath, body, emotion, thoughts.
It pulls you out of autopilot, resets your focus, brings you back to the present, massively boosts presence for whatever's next.
And a really important one for self-care, maybe hard for some folks, robust self-compassion practices.
Oh, absolutely critical for sustaining yourself. When you are struggling, when you mess up, feel inadequate, which happens to everyone.
The inner critic goes wild.
Exactly. It's so easy to unleash that harsh self-criticism. Instead, consciously try to offer yourself the same kindness, the same understanding you'd offer a good friend in the same boat.
Treat yourself like a friend.
Acknowledge the difficulty. A really powerful tool is the self-compassion break. 3 steps. 1, this is a moment of suffering, just acknowledging the pain.
Okay. Acknowledge.
2, suffering is a part of life. Other people feel this way. Normalizing it, reducing that feeling of isolation.
Connect to common humanity.
Yes. And 3, may I be kind to myself? An explicit offering of kindness. Maybe even put a hand over your heart physically. It feels gentle.
May I be kind to myself?
It's a potent antidote to shame, to self-blame. It helps you tend your inner garden with compassion, replenish your reserves instead of draining them with self-attack.
Tending the inner garden. That's lovely. To bring all 7 habits together, let's look at that example of Sarah and Liam's difficult friendship dynamic from the text. How do the habits weave together there?
Yeah, it's a perfect illustration. Sarah's friend Liam was going through a really rough patch, leaning on her heavily. Constant, long, venting phone calls.
Draining for Sarah.
Hugely. She cared deeply, but felt increasingly exhausted, resentful, experiencing compassion fatigue. So first, she recognized her rising exhaustion and guilt, that self-awareness, recognizing the need for self-care.
Okay, step 1, notice.
Then, she reflected, what does true, sustainable support actually look like? Her intention shifted from just be there no matter the cost to be there sustainably. That shows insight and integrity.
So not abandoning him, but reframing her support. What did she do then?
She then engaged with Liam, with both empathy for his struggle, but also clear communication about her own needs, instead of snapping in frustration.
Which would be easy to do.
Very easy. She chose a calm moment, expressed her feelings honestly but kindly. Something like, Liam, I care about you so much, and I want to support you. Lately, though, I've been feeling really overwhelmed by the length and intensity of our calls. I want to be truly present for you, and I can do that best if maybe we schedule shorter, more focused chats, or maybe do something enjoyable together sometimes, shift the dynamic a bit.
That takes courage. Skillful communication, resilience.
Absolutely. Navigating that difficult conversation shows real skill.
It must have been tough, but sounds like it led to a better outcome for both in the long run.
It did. That approach allowed Sarah to set healthy boundaries. Might have been awkward initially for Liam, sure, but it led to a far healthier, more balanced, more sustainable relationship for both of them.
Prevented burnout for Sarah.
Exactly. prevented burnout, prevented deep resentment from building, and maybe subtly encouraged Liam to diversify his support network too. It shows how all these habits, self-awareness, self-care, insight, integrity, skillful communication, boundary setting, resilience, they don't exist in isolation. They weave together in complex, everyday situations, ultimately creating healthier, more fulfilling lives and connections. It's not about mastering just one habit, but seeing how they all reinforce each other, creating that stronger, more adaptable, more authentic life.
So we've unpacked these 7 habits for a skillful life, from skillful adaptability all the way through to self-care and service. And as you can hear, listening in, they're not separate boxes to tick.
Not at all. Deeply interconnected.
Each one strengthens the others, builds up that core toolkit: awareness, wisdom, authenticity, resilience, engagement. And this whole journey, this cognizant life art, it's really not about reaching some mythical perfect state, is it? No nonstop bliss, no error-free living.
No, and expecting that just leads to frustration. That's not the goal.
What is the goal then?
Instead, think of these habits as practical tools. Tools to help you become more consistently aware, more intentionally focused, more insightful, more aligned with your own integrity day by day. The real key, the transformative power, it lies in the consistency, the regularity, the sincerity with which you try to apply them.
Like practicing an instrument.
Exactly like that. Or training for something physical. Mastery, or even just getting better, comes from regular, consistent practice, even when some practice sessions feel, well, unproductive, or you hit a sour note.
Yeah.
There will absolutely be days you forget, days you fall back into old reactive habits. That's perfectly normal. It's human. The practice in those moments isn't beating yourself up.
What is it then?
It's simply to notice. Notice you've strayed. Acknowledge it without harsh self-judgment. And then gently, kindly bring yourself back to your intention to practice. Each time you do that, you're strengthening that cognizant life artist muscle.
Bringing yourself back gently.
You're tending your inner garden with wisdom and care, cultivating a life that feels truly artful, truly skillful, more often than not.
So what does this all mean for you listening as you step back into your day, thinking about your own life, your own ecosystem? Maybe consider this. How might focusing intentionally on just one of these habits this week?
Just one to start.
Yeah, maybe trying that 1-minute awareness check-in before your next tricky meeting, or actively looking for chances to genuinely appreciate someone you usually take for granted. Or maybe playing that "what just triggered me" detective game after you feel that flash of frustration. How might that one small shift create a subtle but maybe significant ripple effect? A ripple of clarity or peace or connection through your whole life. What stands out to you right now is the one habit you'd like to maybe water first in your own mind's garden. The first step in crafting your own unique piece of cognizant life art.